What's up, y'all? You are listening to a special Women Crush Wednesday edition of For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I'm the founder, Melissa Sharee, and I am here. Today, I have invited a very special guest. Y'all know all my guests are special, but I have with me LAIA Jones. She is a phenomenal, rare, unique treasure, and I invited her to dig a little deeper with me today. What's up, Leah?
Oh, I love the introduction.
Wait, I'm not even done. I'm not even done. I gotta say some more because listen, y'all. Let me tell you about Leia. First of all, we met, okay, at the City of Refuge in Gardena, California, because we were both a part of Psalms Choir. But Leia is a Memphis native. She began singing with her church choir at the age of 7, and she has not stopped singing since. Okay, she began honing her craft and decided early in life to pursue this passion. Many of the Motown hits that she sings today are near and dear to her heart because her father, an avid listener of many of Motown's finest, played this music when Leia was growing up. Y'all want to know who she worked with? Listen, artists in gospel, country, rock, and R&B. So you can't peg my sister down to one little genre. Don't be trying to put her in a box, okay? Because she will just blow right out of it. Donna Lawrence, Damita Haddon, Rod Stewart, Mary J. Blige, Dolly Parton. I just watched that documentary, to name a few. Okay, while she was living in LA, she sang with several bands. She was a lead vocalist, while she did that. And she recently moved to the Tennessee area where she now sings with Byron Harvey and the Team. Okay, now that's your full intro.
I love it.
If you was here, I'd give you a big old squeeze and a big old hug. So just receive it virtually. So Byron Harvey and Team, tell me about that.
Byron Harvey and TEAM is a collective of several different singers from the Nashville area and like the surrounding cities near Nashville. Like myself, I live in Clarksville, but I do a lot of traveling into Nashville to sing because that's where most of the music is. It's not just country, it's growing. It's growing in the area of gospel. It's getting and the gospel has always been there, but it's really starting to expand more. And I think especially with the growth of the Museum of African American Art that's now here, and then we have an R&B scene that's growing here, a hip hop scene that's really growing here. And so I try to stay close to the people that are doing the music. And then there are all kinds of different little bistros and little hole in the wall like clubs and stuff that we often frequent. And a lot of my friends that I met in TEAM, they either sing with the collective group or we're all out kind of doing our own different things. And I love it, man. It kind of reminds me of Psalms, how you had all these gifted people with all these different talents just coming together. And on occasion, we branch out and do our own things, and we still come back together and make some beautiful magic happen. I met Byron, goodness, like 2 years ago. I don't think anything happens by accident or thing. A friend of mine knew that I was new to the area, and we met through another mutual friend who recently passed, God rest his soul. We met and she needed another soprano singer. And she was like, I can't do it. Can you go? And I was like, sure, no problem. She was like, tell them you're the soprano and they're going to do a couple of songs for this gospel artist that was in the area. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so that's where I met most of the people from TEAM, including Byron. And he was like, hey, he was like, I really like your sound and your tone. And I'm always looking for additional people to add to TEAM. I'm always looking for sopranos. And he was like, I really would love for you to be a part. And because I'm always somewhere singing, and because I'm always, moving around with my big mouth and meeting people, I was like, sure. And I mean, I didn't have anything else to do. And I think for most artists, whether you're a singer, a dancer, actor, or whatever, you always, it's like a drug. You always find your drug. And that's my thing. That's my drug. And I don't care where I've gone. I've always been able to find the drugs. And I find the people that get the drugs. And so that's what TEAM has become for me. The same way Psalms was for me. TEAM has become that family unit, that place where if you need somebody to play a piano, you can find it in TEAM. If you need somebody that can play a mean guitar, you can find it in TEAM. If you need somebody to play a drum or some drums, you can find it in TEAM. If you need any voice part, you can find it in TEAM. If you need an event planner, you can find it in TEAM. If you need a designer or someone who's savvy in marketing, Psalms was like that, remember? And it's just, I love the fact that I'm now a part of a team of people who really have so much and such a variety of things you can choose from to just continue to grow. Yeah. But Byron has a single out called God is Justice that we were all a part of. And that was fun too. Yeah.
Okay. I have not heard that, but I'm going to have to listen for it.
You got to check out Byron Harvey and TEAM. Yeah, so I'm on that one too.
Okay. Yep. So wait. Okay, first of all, you're making Nashville sound amazing. I know a couple of people that moved to Nashville. And I mean, the thing about Nashville, it just, there's that whole like, musician kind of like big dream, like all of those things. When you say Nashville, it's just like a loaded word, right? And when you're talking, and sometimes you're like, okay, that's probably just hype, but that's movies. Wasn't there a series called Nashville? Anyway, but when you're talking about it, it sounds like, no, it's for real. That's not a myth.
I think that what Georgia or Atlanta once was, Nashville is becoming.
What?
Angeles used to be for a lot of people comes to like, oh, I'm going to the big city. What Georgia or Atlanta now is. And I think Nashville is continuing to grow because it used to be cheaper to come here and live. It's a lot slower, so you get a chance to kind of breathe while you're doing the creative process of whatever you're doing. And the people here are really nice. I can't really tell you that I know of a nicer group of people. Like, it's just a Southern hospitality that we have that's just, it just comes natural. When I moved to California, that's what I missed most. People saying hello when you go into the store. You may not know them from a can of paint, but just the opportunity to say hello when you meet eyes with people, and people saying yes ma'am and no ma'am, I don't care how old you are, and people just being so nice. That's what this place offers. And I love the familial communal aspect of the South. And I think coming to California, I craved that. And so that's where songs came in for me. I created that with y'all. I was able to make friends that became family because I really didn't know too many people, and my family was so far away from me. I had family in California, but because of schedules and all that stuff really not meeting up, and me not being able to see my family as often, because I was usually at church, y'all became family for me. And those people, you guys are still my closest friends. And I mean, eventually, if I'm your friend for 10 years or more, I really don't call you friend. I call you family. because that's what you become. You get so close to people, and it's hard to find great friends, and when you find them, you keep them. And so, yeah, that's what this place brings. And I think, you know, even the friends that I created, most of them were transplants, and we continue to keep that familial aspect going, and just made family out of the friendships that we formed.
I got so many questions running through my head right now for you. I'm gonna start with this
Okay.
one though, okay? Because first of all, you're talking about Southern hospitality and the
Yeah.
gentleness, the sweetness, the friendliness. That's one thing about you. It's like if anybody meets you for the first time, that's I mean, that is the impression that you
Aw,
that you leave, that you embody. It's not even an impression. It's like it's literally who you are. Like you are
thank you.
always so calm, so sweet, like so grounded. Like I'm for real. It's like,
Thank
girl,
you.
does anything rattle you and shake you at all? Or it's just like you just always like that no matter what comes? That's what I need to
It,
know.
it takes a lot to rattle me. And when I was younger, I did get rattled fairly quickly. But over time, as I became an adult, you just learn how not to worry about certain things. And you figure, hey, if I've done everything that I could possibly think of to rectify an issue, and I can't do anything else about it, why worry about it? Eventually it works itself out, right? So I mean, it really does take a lot to make me upset. And I pride myself in not not going off the deep end, because a lot of times when you don't sit and just calm down, you you do something later on that you will regret. And so
Hmm.
I learned to just breathe through whatever it is I'm going through, think about what I'm saying, think about what I'm doing, and eventually you figure out how to work stuff out. It's just it took time to get here though. It's
Now you said you learned that. Who taught you that? Did you? That's something you watched from somebody else? Did your mama pass that on? Like, how did you learn that?
um I think just learning that shouting at people and being upset taught me that, because it ain't working. So let me figure out a different way to deal with it. And you learn, hey, it's not gonna always go your way.
Hmm.
If I'm calm and I think stuff through, maybe me and the person that I'm disagreeing with can meet in the middle somewhere, because we're able to sit here and talk this out and think through it. That's not to say that you don't get upset, because I do have moments where I get upset. I do have moments where I have to go, wait, I don't think I need to say that. I do have those moments where I'm going, oh Lord, I just cussed. But I mean, over time you learn, okay, let's think this out. There has to be a solution. I remember a guy that I used to work with years ago, and he was always so happy. And he used to always go, no problems, only solutions. Man, that's a philosophy to live by. He never seemed to be upset, and he was always smiling. And I was like, that is a really great way to live, because I mean, you spend so much time being worried, you will worry yourself to death. And I,
Hmm.
and my brother used to say, worry and make your heart bad. And it's kind of true. Like when you think about it, it's like you spend all this time worrying about stuff that's out of your control. And then you look back and go, I mean, had I just let time take its course and let things work themselves out, I probably would have felt a whole lot better. I had an aunt that used to go, "You don't worry about nothing." I was like, "I don't. I really don't. I really don't." And they used to bother her to no end, because I would be like, "Well, I try to figure it out, and it worked with the solutions that I came up with. It works itself out." She hates that. She, I'm like, "I mean, it works itself out, you know." But yeah, I try not to worry too much.
I love that. That is a wonderful place to be. Okay, and it takes people. some
years.
people just,
They never
it's a
get to
challenge
it.
to get there. They might never
Yeah,
get
they
there. They're
never
trying to
get
get
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you were in LA, but
hmm
you're not from LA. You're obviously from the South. Are you from Tennessee?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
So, okay. So you actually
Yeah,
returned back
I
home.
did.
So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that, especially, because artists end up kind of moving around, bouncing around, especially the ones that kind of become transplants, bring themselves
Yeah.
to sunny old California, Tinseltown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Usually we say.
what took you back home? What brought you back
What?
home?
Oh wow. You just asked a loaded question.
Did I?
You just asked a loaded question, but I'm gonna give you the full load.
Okay, bring it.
Well, when I was in California, I would always be going back and forth from California to Tennessee every year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, I would come home for 2 to 3 weeks. And I had friends here from school. I went to Middle Tennessee State in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And a lot of the friends that I had gained over the years, they were musicians. Like I said, I always found my drug.
Yep.
And even after I had graduated and gone on to live in California, I continued to keep in touch with a lot of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, hey, since y'all doing music and I do music, I mean, who said I have to always do it in California? And so what I would do is plan my Christmas vacation out. And I had a job where I had the luxury of taking off. I would let my PTO build up and I would be like, I'm taking off for 3 weeks. My boss used to hate that. But I got the time though, and I never took off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always would save that time for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming home to see my family for the Christmas holiday, and I wanted to bring in the new year with my family because I hadn't gone home the whole year. That was my vacation, And so what I would do, I would plan a week, maybe 4 to 5 days, where I would spend in Memphis with my family. Then I would come to Nashville and I would spend like 5, 6, maybe 7 days here, record, write, whatever, go back home, bring in the new year, then come back to California. Whatever we had worked on that Christmas holiday, we would still be kind of working on mixing, mastering, and all that good stuff while I was here, or in California rather. And then I will still be writing, preparing for the next year. And oftentimes what I would write in California, I would record it in California, send it back to Nashville. And it was just a back and forth thing for a while. But then in 2017, I got sick. I was diagnosed with cancer. And my family had to come out to California to take care of me for about 2 weeks. Because I'm single, there was nobody in my house to help me with a lot of the things that I could not do at that time.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt came out, my brother came out, and then my aunt from San Diego was, at the time, she was coming down, and I mean, San Diego to Pasadena, that's like, 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
She would travel there every single week to take me to chemo.
Wow.
7 months, she took me to chemo. In chemo, well, it was like 5 or 6. I was in chemo from June to December. I had to do 16 rounds of chemo. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in May of 2017. And so through the process, my aunt, who is also a breast cancer survivor, walked me through it. So, and it's amazing how it works because I worked for the best hospital in the world. And while I was there, I was like, man, I really don't want to do this type of work because I've always been an artist. I've always been creative at heart. But I always say God knows exactly what he's doing. I needed to be there because had I not been there, only God knows where I would have been today. But I had some of the best doctors, literally in the world. I had some amazing doctors. And I had about 1, 2, 3. I had like 3 main doctors that worked with me. And all of them were like world renowned. I read my surgeon's, like her resume. I was like, you got like football stats, like worth of work that you do. And she started laughing. I was like you a big deal. And she was like, football stats? I've never heard it look like that. I was like, no, before I chose you, I read like your whole background. And they work with a team of people, and all of them track your case and track your progress, how they work with you as a team. And so I worked with that particular surgeon who led me to the oncologist that I worked with, and then led me to the reconstructive surgeon, and it all worked out. And so December of 2017 is when I took my last round of chemo. And I just started to reevaluate like what life was going to look like for me post cancer, cancer free. And I think being faced with the fact that I had an illness that could have taken my life made me really think, LAIA, what are you doing with your life to live it to the fullest, to where if you go tomorrow, people can really say you touched them because you lived fully within your greatest capacity, within the gifts that God has given you to be the best you can be, so you can inspire other people to be better and to be the best them that they can be. And for me, that's always been music. I do it because I love it. I do it because it's like breathing. I don't have to think about it. And so I remember this was prior to my diagnosis. I had a friend at the time, and she was like, LAIA, I need you here. And I was like, well, everything that I have is now in California. I said, I need a job to move back here. And it was like, we'll find you a job. And I was already dealing with a lot on my job in California. And so I was like, I think it's about that time for me to go. And it started to really become like super stressful. And so the first job I got, I was on the first thing smoking. And that was in 2018. That was August of 2018. When I first got back here, it was a struggle because the cost of living is different. It's different. I had to relearn the cities because things have changed drastically since I left from undergrad. It's totally different now. And so I was like, this was not here the last time. Like certain areas are now gentrified. I used to be like, this was the hood. Now you can walk freely through here. Like it's different ethnicities. It's not just Black, you know. So it was almost like I had gone through another culture shock, kind of like what I had experienced when I moved to California. But I got used to it. And I think my friends were very integral in helping me to just kind of navigate through the process. The job that I had, I stayed there for maybe a year. And while I was working that job, I would leave, go record, and go home. Sometimes I was working a second job, and I was still trying to figure out how to record in between there. And I would get up, do it all over again. And I still do that because I was telling my producer recently, I said, I am going to write and sing my way out of corporate America, because I don't think extraordinary people who create like we do should have to be pigeonholed in this. I'm gonna work this 8-hour shift and type on this computer all day and not have the room to continue to use our creative juices to allow them to flow, so continue to be a blessing. And so, I mean, even in between like lunch or when I get off work, I'm writing. on the weekend when I don't have to work, I'm probably writing or recording, because I just figure either I'm going to do it or I'm not. Mm-hmm. So I've decided to do it and create no excuses for myself. And that's been tough with everything that I've had to do to get to this point, because you get tired. Physically you get tired, mentally you get tired, but I think if you really want to do something, you can wrap your mind around it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it.
Yes. That is so true. Because there's been even like simple things, you know, like where you invite people to do things. Yeah. And it's like they don't come. It's like, you know what? At the end of the day, people do what they want to do. That is the power of our choice.
It's true.
We either make it happen or we don't.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, there's so many things I love about the story that you shared. First of all, thank you for sharing that. Okay. You're welcome. But the fact that you have not lost your shine, your glow, your sweet, like you haven't lost any of that. You know, sometimes people go through that was intense, girl. You dropped the C cancer word like da-da-da. But that's some intense stuff, okay? Because I know other people that have also had to go through that, and it's not at all easy. And so, you know, not everybody comes out on the other side still holding on to or keeping the essence of all of those wonderful positive qualities that you already had. Like you didn't lose anything. It's like I'm talking to you and it's like you just gained. You know, it just seems like as we go through things, you're either going to be the type of person that loses or gains. You know?
Yeah. And it starts here. It starts here.
In the mind.
I decided when the doctor told me that, hey, you have a tumor, we have to remove it. This is your diagnosis. I was like, man, ain't nobody got time. I don't have time for this. And I decided, are you going to be sick and lie down and take this? Or are you going to figure out a way to keep winning through a process where people expect you to lose? And I pray a lot. I really do. Like, and I told God, I said, I don't have time for this. I said, I need, and I know I pray some. God probably be lying. What did she do? But I was like, God, I need my body to defy science. I was like, I don't plan to be the cancer patient that sits up in the house. I can't do it. I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. I think I was on leave for 8 weeks, but during that 8-week period of time, I was almost like a prisoner playing in my skin. I sat at home and I was like, after this is up and I go back to work, I'm going back to work. And I was working my full-time job. And I was also singing in 2 bands at that time. Mm-hmm. Continued to do that. And one of my band leaders was like, he was like, how are you going to do this? I was like, I'm just doing. He was like, but you might be sick on stage. And I was like, who said? I was like, I'm not going to allow a diagnosis to dictate to me how I live the way I live. I do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, you call me when you want me to come back. I said, I'm ready, but you got to be ready too. If you're not ready, then you can find somebody else. But the band members that I sang with, they didn't want nobody else. They wanted me. Mm-hmm. And he wanted me to come back as well. But he was so afraid. And I was like, yo, if I could go back to my regular job, mm-hmm. I'd come back to this. And that's exactly what I did. Working my full-time job, doing chemo 2 days a week. I was going to rehearsal. I was going to weddings, singing. I went to one wedding and one of my mentors was so mad at me. I went to their wedding and I was with what's called neutropenic, which means my white blood cells were slim to none. But I said, hey, I accepted the gig. I can't just not go. She was like, yeah, but it's a ton of people. How are you going? I was like, I'm going to just wear my mask in between the breaks. She was like, I can't tell you what to do, but you are crazy. I was like, but I accepted the gig. And the guy that got married, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'll be all right. He was like, what's wrong? Do you mind me asking? And I said, well, I said, I'm going through chemo and my WBCs are low. He was like, you're neutropenic and you came? And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh my gosh, have a seat. Like, I was like, thank you. But I didn't feel bad. And I think it was all because of how I decided to think. My band members were amazing. I don't think I even drove to that gig because they were like, you can't drive. You get in the passenger seat. Mm-hmm. All right. And so I did what I could do within reason. I didn't go overboard. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to sit at home and not do nothing. I can't do it. And I made it work. It's just.
You sure did. You made that work.
I made it work. I just, and my folks were like, you are not. I was like, well, this is what I do. And I'm going to do what I do by any means necessary. Mm-hmm. Call it what you want to, crazy. But I think that a lot of times it's the crazy people that are known for doing amazing things. And so I was like, in life, you got to take some risks to get to where you want to go. Now, I think if a doctor or nurse heard me say that, they would probably be like, well, you probably, because my aunt, who is a nurse, I have a nurse, and she was like, LAIA, somebody could cough on you in the hospital. I was like, I'll just put this mask on. She was like, something is really wrong with you. I was like, I'll be fine. So that's, yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, and you already answered a question that I was going to ask you, which was because I was going to ask you in terms of your music, because you had talked about, you know, being at that job at the hospital, like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to be here, but God worked it out. It was for your good, even though you didn't even know it.
For real.
I call that divine orchestration, girl. You're right. There are no accidents, divine orchestration. But so my question was going to be, you know, where are you at with your music? Is this just like a side thing? But it sounds to me like you are just preparing yourself to be able to do the music full time at all times, and you're committed to that.
Right. And I've decided, because I used to look at, oh, I'm getting older, but I was like, well, shoot, everybody getting older. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my ultimate goal, I love singing. I love singing. But my ultimate goal is to really get into and immerse myself in the writing side. I was like, everybody got to know. I just want you to listen. Mm-hmm. And even as a singer, I ain't got to tell you how old I am. I just get out there and sing. Mm-hmm. I mean, and does it really matter if it's great music? And so I decided to stop focusing on the limitations and start saying to myself, what can you do with what you have? Work that instead of trying to work out all the stuff that you cannot work out. I can't work out the fact that I'm getting older. I can't work out the fact that at the moment, you know, I can't I can't stop time, you know. So you figure out how to make things work for you in whatever moment you're in. And I decided just keep working. Keep somebody within some demographic that needs to hear what you have. You might not reach every teenager. You might not reach every Generation Z male and female, but you will reach somebody who needs to hear what you have. And if they might not want to hear it from you, you can give it to somebody else, and it's still a sale.
Yeah.
It's still a sale.
It'll still sell. Hey, so I want to dissect that really quick, just a little bit, okay? Because that's another familiar narrative in terms of, you know, people that have a talent, they have a gift, they got to pay the bills. So they're doing the, you know, the 9 to 5. And, you know, a lot of times they might vacillate, go back and forth, not really sure, you know, if they should lean into their gift or the talent, or if they should just, you know, do what they need to do practically. So I want to dissect that choice that you made, because I mean, was it just, obviously you said you love music, you can't do without it, it's your drug, you look for it, but there has to be something more that helped put you on the side of, I'm choosing this and I'm committing to this, beyond the fact, because the other thing, you know, sometimes people let mind tricks go and they'll sabotage moving forward full time in the gift that they've been given, because they're comparing themselves to, well, I'm not going to be as great as, you know, fill in the blank, somebody mainstream, right? I don't have that kind of talent. I don't have that kind of gift. So I really probably should be doing this 9 to 5 job and, you know, just sing a little on the side.
Well, I learned a long time ago, it's only one LAIA. I'm trying to be like everybody else. Nobody will know LAIA. I had a radio host who recently asked me on his show, he's like, if you could think of any other artist or compare yourself to any other artist, who would that be? I said, nobody. Because there's nobody like me. It takes so much time to just be me. And I was like, if I try to be anybody else, that's who you're going to want to see eventually, which means you're going to ignore me. Do the best me and be the best me I can be, then you're going to wonder where I am eventually. You're going to wonder when I'm coming back. And that's my goal, to create an impression with the sound that I have, with the writing that I do, where people are going, who is that? And where can I get more of that? I not focus on, oh, well, this is how so-and-so artist did it. Oh, this is how so-and-so made her way into the industry or his way into the industry. I have a different pace because I'm a different person. And I think sometimes you have to, if the route that's normally taken doesn't work for you, create your own route. Create your own route. I think it was Ricky Minor I heard saying something about the road less taken or something like that. He has a book or something that kind of pertains to that. Sometimes the normal route is just not going to work for you. But that doesn't mean that there is not a route at all.
Yes. Dropping nuggets and gems up in here. I love it.
It's a route for us all to take. We just got to be daring enough to take the route.
That's right.
The song that I just put out, it took us 6 years to get to this point. And it took my producers begging me to do the song. Because I was like, I think I want to do something else. And they were like, it's a song. What are you doing? I was like, nah, I think I want to. They were like, no, we're not doing nothing else. I was like, okay, that's fine. I eventually was like, okay. And people love it. Love it. And I really do want to bring music back to a place where people see and feel love. I think we have such a jaded view of what it is now, because you see this industry that's infused with so much sex and sexuality.
Yeah.
We equate that to love, but I'm like, No, that ain't the love that I remember hearing that the Whitney Houstons talked about, the OJs talked about, the Leon Timbos talked about, the Tyrese's, the Gladys Knights, the Anita Bakers, the Layla Hathaways. Can continue to even go up into like the 2000s and some of the 90s music. Like, you know, I like listening to New Edition, and I like listening to even, I mean, even if I updated to like day 26, everything wasn't always physical. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, but sometimes, you know, I might want to listen to something that's just about just pure love. I want to be able to get in a car and drive for miles, and maybe I got a 6-year-old in the car, and that 6-year-old might want to sing along to the song. Maybe the grandmama is in the car that happens to be 65.
Yes.
I'm saying too, you know. You know, I appreciate the Luther Vandrosses. I appreciate the Elton Johns. I appreciate the sound that's timeless, and people can listen to it no matter the decade. Like, we still singing Luther Vandross songs. We still singing Brandy songs. Brandy, I mean, like, and I'm talking to her old stuff. Brandy, what, last year? 2 years ago? But we're still singing I Want to Be Down. We're still singing Baby, Baby, Baby. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
music that I want to create, the music where people have a moment of nostalgia when they listen to it. I still can remember where I was certain Mary J. Blige songs. I still remember, like, I remember the buzz that took place when Lauryn Hill's Miseducation came out. Like, I want to have that same type of buzz and nostalgia when people hear what I have. And I want it that bad. Like, I remember walking from school to the mall to go get Miseducation. Like, that's the type of anticipation that I want people to have for what I'm offering. And it's something that touches you and grabs the. It's I don't hope to create a sound that's trendy. I want a sound that's classic.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Do you see what time it is?
I know. Oh my
It
God.
goes by so quickly.
It
I mean,
did.
we could just keep on talking, girl. I'm
You can
telling you.
keep talking to me, and I don't mind. I don't mind. I so don't mind.
So you're working on an EP or what? You're working on a full project.
We're doing an EP.
Okay.
And the single that we have out, I've been thinking, it was produced by Byron Morrow, Antoine Johnson, aka Kid Dynamite. And I had a co-writer. Jamila McCarley is the co-writer on it, and I did some writing myself, and we came up with I've Been Thinking. And we're doing some more stuff. I'm always writing and recording something. I was just recently telling somebody I'm so thankful for the cell phone.
Oh.
Because I keep my cell phone on me to the point where it's become a recorder. And so I spend a lot of time in the car. It's very seldom I listen to other people's music. But enough to study it, see what sounds are out there, to kind of see like the study of the instrumentation and inflections of the voice and different things like that. But I still want to create my own sound. And so a lot of times I just turn the radio off and listen to the silence. And within that silence, I find a sound. I find something that's all my own.
Yeah.
And I sit in the car a lot and just write. And I, stick the phone on the dash and make sure I'm hands free, hit the button and record. A lot of the freestyles that I come up with, because I drive all the time. Driving from my house to Nashville is an hour.
Oh, okay.
Just imagine me creating, going, and coming.
Mm-hmm.
It a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's how a lot of the music that I've created is born. I'm either sitting in my room. I don't watch a lot of TV. I really don't have time. When I do watch TV, I try to leave myself mentally open to be inspired by whatever it is I see to create around it. If I walk outside, I try to create around what I see. If I work with children in an aftercare program, and it's certain things that they say, I try to create around it. One of the little ladies told me the other day, I gave her a big piece of it was like a big piece of like tissue paper. I can't think of the name of that paper. She was drawing on it, and she said, "LAIA, I got a hole in it." I said, "Girl, you got to learn how to repurpose art." And she was like, "But I wanted to make," I forget what it was she wanted to make with it. I said, "Girl, you can't make that." I said, "But it could become a cake." And I wrapped it around her, and she was like, "But is it gonna fit?" I said, "It's gonna fit you." But eventually she came up with something. She said, "Miss LAIA, I think I know what I want to make." I said, "What you making?" She said, "I want to make a kite." I said, "Girl, you can do that." I said, "What other art pieces do you add to this kite?" And it turned out well. And she was like, "I think I need a couple of these sticks, these popsicle sticks." And she went to work on the kite. And the next day she came up to me and she said, "Miss LAIA, I just wanted to come and tell you thank you." And I was like, "You're welcome. What are you thanking me for?" She said, "I just want to thank you for respecting my art." I said, "Dadgummit, I'm going to say that when I get a Grammy or something. Shoot. Thank you for respecting my art."
Yes.
You know, and I had a vocal coach that used to tell me, "LAIA, you can always create from something. You can't create from nothing, though. Start somewhere and work your way into where you want it to be." Every song that you create is not going to be it could start out as trash, but don't throw out every piece of trash. Find a way to make it into a treasure. I said, the just blessing me. She was like, "I just wanted to thank you for respecting my art." I said, you just helped me, because it really made me think about how often we hear a certain thing or write a certain thing. It's like, "Oh, it's not good enough." Not yet. Keep at it. Keep at it. I have had some stuff that I've written in books, and I go, wait, the sound that I created in 2018 may not be the sound that goes with that in 2021, but I can always work through it and get to the sound that's necessary for people to feel it.
Yes.
And my rule of thumb is, if you don't feel it, they won't.
You cut out. You said you have to feel it first, right?
And if you don't feel it, they won't feel it. It's gotta touch me first. If it doesn't inspire me, I'm not gonna give it to you. If I can't have it circling around in my head and I'm singing it, then I'm not gonna expect you to sing it.
Yes.
It's like having a child to me. You know, even as your child develops, and I'm sure parents sometimes look at their kids and go, "This baby look a little interesting." Over time, you work with that baby and you watch that baby develop, and you continue to nurture that baby until it gets to the point where you can say, "All right, I did good." Good. You know, and creating music is kind of like that, you know, especially when you're creating it with other people. They give a piece of themselves, you give so much of yourself, and y'all come up with this piece of art that you want to say, "Here, look at my baby." Baby, you think my baby cute? You know what I mean? And so I always ask myself that, do you love it? If you don't love it, don't give it to anybody else. That's the rule.
The other powerful piece of that is, if you love it, it really don't matter if no one else loves it anyway.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, if I can sing it and it circle around in my head, it's a banger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, your focus, your commitment. I mean, it's crazy, girl. It's crazy in a good way.
Thank you.
All right, so we are gonna have to begin to wrap it up. But tell us. I know this was so good. We'll have to do it again.
We shall. We'll have to be a part 2.
Yeah, we have to do a part 2.
Yes,
but how can people find you if they're trying to find your single that's out? If they're trying to stay up on what Miss LAIA's doing, they want to respect your music. How can they do that?
If they want to find me, I'm on Instagram under LAIA Jones Music. That's LAIA JONES, LAIA Jones Music. If they want to find me on Facebook, I'm on there under LAIA Jones. That's LAIA JONES. And if they want to find me on Linktree, they can find the Linktree link on my Instagram page. Everything is there from YouTube. I'm under the LAIA Way on YouTube.
The LAIA Way. I like
right.
It.
My producer came up with that, and I was like, I kind of like that. We were talking about like how LAIA Way it's called something different now. We were just kind of joking around one day, and I said I was reading a tweet, and somebody was saying people don't realize PayPal just created with this pay as you go another LAIA Way. And he said the way you said that was hilarious. He said, but that needs to be the name of your YouTube page. He said, that would be so dope. I was like, the LAIA Way? He said, yeah, but your name. And I was like, He said, the LAIA Way. And he was like, you're doing your art, your way, unapologetically. Named the channel, the LAIA Way.
Yes.
AIA.
The LAIA Way. You know, and having had this conversation today, the LAIA Way doesn't just apply to music. I mean, you are doing things your way, just in general, in terms of how you're living your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unapologetically, without fear.
Yeah.
Full of light, full of sweetness, full of gentleness. You know, I mean, I could go on. I can see and visualize the LAIA Way. Like, you embody a way of being.
Thank you.
It's inspiring, girl.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you. And you know, people can follow the YouTube page there. I have myself on there singing live. It's called I've Been Thinking. No G, as my producer said. He said, there is no G on thinking. I was like, okay. I'll let people know. I'll let the people know it's I've Been Thinking. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Amazon Music. You can find me on Spotify. I'm under LAIA. And yeah, go pick it up.
Oh, yes, awesome. But we can't wait to hear more of what you're moving into and all the accomplishments that that you get into. We support you. I just want you to know I love you, and I thank you so much for being my guest on this episode. It was really good to connect with you. It's been a minute.
It has. Oh my gosh, way too long. Way too long.
Well, when I get to Nashville, I'll let you know, because that's one place I've never been yet.
Come on.
Yeah.
Never been here. If you want to breathe, this is the perfect place for that. It's got that laid back. Like it's a real chill place.
Okay. It's a chill vibe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, for those of y'all that are listening, that one does have a G on it.
It does.
You have been listening to a special Women Crush Wednesdays edition of For the Artist, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I have been your host, Melissa Sharee, and I have been speaking with the one and only phenomenal, rare, unique treasure, LAIA Jones. All right, y'all. So till next time, keep creating from the inside out.
Yes.